folks seem to think that women vote like this. But guess what? Those people have no idea what they're talking about. In aggregate, women began voting noticeably different than men in 1980, the same year that Beatles frontman John Lennon was assassinated. Now, do those two facts have anything to do with each other? Absolutely not. In that historic presidential election, old Ronald Reagan lost the female vote by 7 percentage points, the widest gender gap in election history, which political scientists today attribute not to the Republican Party's disavowal of the Equal Rights Amendment, but rather Reagan's proposed defense spending and welfare cuts. And starting with President Bill Clinton's 1992 victory, a majority of American women have voted for the Democratic presidential candidate every single time. In other words, how women vote, especially if we're talking about younger women, single women, and/or women of color, is more liberal, which political scientists say stems from our tendency to perceive the proper role of government as promoting altruism rather than protecting individualism. In terms of specific platforms, capital W women prioritize government provisions for the poor, elderly, and children, as well as education and environmental issues. But interesting fact, when it comes to reproductive rights and government-assisted healthcare, no gender gap. But a candidate's uterus has to woo lady voters, right? I mean, what little girl hasn't dreamed of growing up one day and syncing menstrual cycles with a Madam President? Not much, and probably no one. For all the talk this 2016 election about women and gender cards, federal and state general election data consistently find that when it comes to whom women vote for, partisanship trumps gender. Rutgers number crunching found that if it's a choice between a Democratic dude and a Republican lady, women are likelier to vote for the bro. In fact, Republican men are likelier than Republican women to vote for a female Republican candidate. Similarly, polling consistently finds that more liberal voters, regardless of their gender, are likelier to agree that women are qualified to be president and that they'd support a female candidate. But interestingly, in the 2016 Democratic primary, research from the nonprofit Emily's List found that emphasizing how Hillary Clinton could become the first female president of the United States was not a persuasive factor for its targeted female voters. Yet again, for women voters, a candidate's full deck of partisanship and policy cards outweighs their lone gender card. But the giant grain of salt to be taken with all of this is that more than 70 million women from all backgrounds and persuasions comprise the female vote. So obviously a gender gap does not a political monolith make. Just ask Sarah Palin.